I'm so glad you're with us on the Friday podcast of the Clark Howard Show. You know, our mission on our YouTube show, here on the podcast, is to serve you with advice and information that empowers you so you make better financial decisions in your life. This is our last Clark Stink segment of the month of July. You'll never hear another one in the month of July for 24. I hope I hear a lot of ways today to improve myself. And later, it's summer. And lots of us enjoy listening to music. But you know what was not music to our ears? The recent price increases from Spotify. So how about instead of paying more to Spotify, you get music for free? We're going to talk that through later. Legally for free. Not like that era long ago where people were stealing music. No, this is legit free we're going to talk about. And right now, legit stuff.
I pressed it this time.
I should have never encouraged you to speak.
You must think I'm pretty stupid.
You should be ashamed of yourself.
Well, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe you're right, pal.
Okay, you don't stink, but perhaps a better deodorant would be good. I'm so tired of Clark.
Did Lane write this one?
No, I'm so tired of Clark automatically calling Medicare Advantage plans disadvantage plans. For millions of smart, well-adjusted Americans who have thought things through, these plans are the right idea. Clark just seems to have an automatic knee-jerk reaction that just rolls off his tongue without him thinking it through. We love our Advantage plan and wouldn't change a thing. Ralph.
Ralph, thank you for that. All right, so why am I so harshing on Advantage plans? I call them disadvantage plans. Because if you think how many billions of dollars the sellers of Medicare Advantage plans put into marketing them as people approach their 65th birthday, they're doing it because they want to contract you for life. They want to handcuff you for life because in most states, you don't have the ability, once you've chosen one, to be able to switch out of it to regular Medicare and get a Medigap, a good Medigap policy. You may not be able to switch to another one. There are only a small number of states that have protections. What happens is you enroll in one, and an Advantage plan can be great. And it can even continue to be great. And then one of two things can happen. One that's been so much in the news this year is the Advantage plan reduces benefits, but you're still stuck with them. You're locked for life in this plan, even if they later go from being good to not so good to lousy. Second thing, you get a serious illness, and the plan does not allow you to see people who are expert at that serious illness or the facilities in the country that are best for it, with the limitations on geography and limits on which providers are available. So, yes, my experience, people love an Advantage plan till they don't, and then they're there like that song from forever ago. You can check out, but you can never leave.
Hotel California.
Thank you. So that's why you hear me say that, Ralph.
On multiple occasions, Clark states something to the effect of, children shouldn't be forced to listen to me. And then Christa will consistently highlight the posts of, I listened to Clark as a kid, and now I'm insert some success metric. I think Clark should stop saying children shouldn't be forced to listen to me and instead create a series of podcasts, YouTube videos, TikToks, etc. that are geared for middle-aged high school and college students that make personal finance enjoyable and relevant to the stage of life they're in. So Clark can probably skip having a neighborhood kids fly a drone over their house to check for roof damage. By creating dedicated content to parents and other loved ones, you can encourage younger individuals to listen or watch. And with Clark's skill of meeting people where they are and not preaching at them, this can make a significant impact. As a fellow child listener turned adult listener, now in my late 20s, married with a combined net worth of $600,000 plus.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
In your 20s?
I have to say that one of the best things my parents did was play Clark Howard on the radio. It made me realize the consequences and benefits that are tied to financial decisions and to be able to ward off the attitude of get rich quick and embrace the tortoise mentality. Signed, All Grown Up.
So say that in jest when I say, you were tortured by having to listen to me. No, it's just, I think, a kid at that moment would rather be listening to anything else but me drone on about ways to be smart with money. But propaganda works, and you never know what's absorbed. And I learned that with my oldest daughter, who I thought never heard anything I said, and was a freshman in college in freshman economics. And the instructor was talking about something, and she normally wasn't that engaged in classes, to tell the truth. And then she raised her hand and said, "But wouldn't it be better if somebody did a Roth IRA?" And she told me that story later, that after class people were like, "How did you know about that stuff?" And so you never know what they're hearing, what they're listening, what they're absorbing. And Rebecca has a quite generous, wonderful Roth IRA because she knew what it was about. I made all my kids do it when they were teenagers, and now at 35, she's got a good nest egg.
I love it. Okay. 2 in the same vein here. Here's the first one. I can't believe Christa didn't smack you upside the head when you said that, quote, women having a bad day go to Target and shop to make themselves feel better, end quote. It's 2024, not 1954, Tom. And this one, I've been listening to Clark for decades and still can't stop myself from groaning when he has to comment, women do this, not men. Please stop adding your stereotypes to your usually helpful comments. And just so you know, my husband goes to the doctor way more than I do, and he spends more money on clothes than I do. And I could go on and on. Our gender does not define how we handle money. Sherry.
Sherry, thank you. Guilty on both parts. So let's look at the trends. I laugh about Target because my wife and
careful what you say. Go ahead.
My wife and one of my daughters always talk about Target therapy, that when they have not had a good day, that somehow they feel better going to Target. As a guy, I go into Target. Maybe other guys go into Target. Me as Clark. That's better, right?
Sure.
Me as Clark, I go into Target. I don't get it at all.
Right.
I mean, I don't see anything I'm like, oh man, I gotta have that. It just doesn't appeal to me. So yeah, that's me being gender stereotyping. It's not fair, not right. On the other hand, on the medical thing, it is clear fact. It's not something that's just made up in my mind.
It's statistics.
Statistics clearly that women generally are much more likely to seek medical care than men are. That's just known, except in one area. Do you know the one area?
What?
Heart. That women will be having chest pains and think, oh, that's a guy thing, and with great consequence.
Or they think maybe just something else like
heartburn or something. Yeah. When you've got something that feels really bad, I don't care what gender you are.
Right.
You want to pay attention to it, especially if it's right there.
Clark doesn't.
Did I help at all?
That was
myself?
fine. That was fine. Yeah. Clark doesn't always stink. He just has some blind spots here and there, which we're here to help him with. About 2 weeks ago, he praised the TSA and their efforts. While they are important, one of those Clark blind spots is the small team of around 14,000 air traffic controllers across the country, which are very overworked and very understaffed, yet still manage to get around 45,000 domestic U.S. flights to and from their destinations and origins, as well as managing an additional 2,000 international flights coming into the U.S. ATC staff is 1/5 of the number of TSA agents, and yet no one knows the ATC is hiring like crazy. They need help badly, and the younger workers without career prospects would do good to look into it, and Clark would do good to occasionally mention it when the subject of jobs for young adults under 30 comes up. Michael,
this is perfect. This is one of the reasons we do Clark Stinks, is that is a blind spot that I never mentioned, the extreme shortage of air traffic controllers. It's got to be the right person, but you work in that tower, you are a lifesaver working in that tower, and thank you for what you do in that tower, you and your fellow controllers.
And my big fan of the show, Joe, is a retired air traffic controller that you and I know, and he has a nice pension and had a great career, so I'm sure he would agree. Okay,
He worked in the Cleveland Tower?
He did, yeah. You only stink some. Thank you for your thoughts on how to protect the Social Security Trust Fund. I agree with eliminating the cap on Social Security taxes. It seems like the one way to improve the trust fund. However, I strongly oppose the raising of the retirement age. How many construction workers or other workers with physically taxing jobs can work until 67 or longer? Most retirees cannot work to full retirement for a variety of reasons, including physical hardship, job loss, disabling conditions, or caregiving responsibilities, to name a few. They already claim before the full retirement age and get a reduced benefit for the rest of their lives. They cannot afford further reduction of their income. Other solutions must be considered, Leslie. And there were lots about the Social Security thing.
Oh, I told you there would be when I was talking about it.
The physical ability thing, the physically hard jobs was one that came up a few times.
Right. So, Leslie, thank you for that well-reasoned and thoughtful post on Social Security. And I know every time I talk about Social Security, you now understand why the politicians hide from it, because it's a dissatisfier when you start talking about how to fix the finances of Social Security and Medicare, not a satisfier. Politicians are like salespeople. They only want to tell you stuff that makes you happy. They don't want to tell you, hey, you got to eat this spinach, and that would be better with vinegar, not sugar, that kind of thing. So the whole idea is for us to get the math on the table and come to solutions that most of us can live with. What we're doing right now is everybody's got blinders on and thinking like we don't have a collision coming here. We have a collision. We don't have enough money that we're collecting to pay the benefits we're promising. And we're talking about next decade. And again, it doesn't mean there's no more Social Security or no more Medicare, but particularly with Social Security, it means people would only get 70% of what is promised to them. The sooner we fix it, the better it is and the less disruption there is. You bring up a very valid point that people brought up in the past. We don't do, as population, a much smaller percent, do heavy physical labor compared to what used to. But then what happens with the fact that an office worker can work a whole lot more years and a physical laborer cannot? How do you equalize that? That's why you get these issues on the table and you come up with an answer that works.
I heard you talking about shopping around where your prescription meds should be filled. You constantly mention Costco. I gotta say, my recent experience with them has been awful, consistently not having my meds in stock, and most recently arguing with me about the price. They wanted to charge me $300 for my medication that costs $15 with insurance. I changed to a grocery store, and not only do they have my meds on time, but also charge me less than the $15 that Costco charged. I'm just saying, broaden your recommendations to people because Costco has been dropping the ball left and right. Patrick, I'm
really sorry that Costco has let you down, although I don't own Costco stock. I just love Costco. But they're not perfect. And there are times that they mess up. And I thought they were going to pull my Costco membership one day. I don't know if I've ever told this story.
I think you did, yeah.
Yeah.
You can tell it again, though, because people probably haven't heard it.
That's okay. That's okay.
My dear Mr. Howard, you are clearly getting riper by the day. I cannot believe your answer to Doug's question about stash. Sure, it's good that Doug has automated his investment habit to build his portfolio, but how did you let pass the fact that Doug is spending $75 a week on lunches on his stash debit card? A perfect opportunity to tell Doug and all of us how much more money he would have to invest if he brought lunch from home instead of laying out $15 a day for his midday meal. Dan,
thank you. I let you say that. When somebody asks me a question like that, they're asking me a question. They don't want to be shamed by the response. And so I answered the question. Obviously, you and others were like, wait a minute, $15 a day for lunch? That's kind of mind-blowing to me, right? And so Think about how much money people save if they take a lunch with them to work. And there's a guy I know who is very wealthy. And this isn't how he got wealthy. But even to this day, he still brings a sack lunch. And it's just part of who he is. People who have really good habits with money do things that seem eccentric. And yes, they seem eccentric because, and it's not false accounting, they are taking certain things in their lives and they're saying, it's not worth it to me to spend the money on that. And you take the example of spending $15 a day on lunch. You make your own, you spend, let's even say you spend $5. That's $50 more a week that you have that can go in a Roth IRA. Think about the difference that makes over the course of a year. So there you have it. I said it. And I appreciate all your posts on Clark Stinks. And I want you to know I appreciate it more than you realize, because sometimes you get lazy, like the one about Costco with the prescription drugs. And they're obviously not the only place you can go get a good deal on prescription drugs. And that's a failing of mine. That's a blind spot that all of us have as humans. And that's why these posts that you take time to write are so wonderful and valuable to me, and hopefully in turn make me more helpful to you. Coming up ahead, this should be helpful to you. Stop paying to listen to music. So we have a household Spotify account. We got a bunch of us on. And Spotify just went up $4 a month. And then I forget what feature I took away. It was something I removed. It was like audiobooks, I think. And it took me back to the old price. But that's just temporary. And for a multi-person account, it's $180 a year that's going down the drain. I don't even use our Spotify account because I've got, I think it's 5 spaces filled up, whatever the family thing is.
Okay. Yeah, no, I have the same plan.
So,
we use it, though. We all use it.
Well, I just am just philosophically not into spending that money. So my son says that this is lame what I do. I use the free version of Pandora. And so, yeah, I've got the ads, but I'm the same way with video streaming. I'd rather, watch Pluto or something at no cost and watch ads. I don't want to pay for media content. I just don't, not by writing. I'd rather lend my eyes or my ears to an ad. And a lot of what we have on our list that we put together that to me is the lucky 13 is our services that you're going to have to hear some ads or you're not going to be able to curate a list. And then there are others that get kind of funky to call them free. An example, the number one example, is Amazon Music. That for people that are Amazon Prime members, one of the throw-ins that almost no Amazon Prime members even seem to know exists is free music stream. So here's my challenge for you. If you're Amazon Prime, you're already paying Amazon a fortune a year for Prime. Get something out of it. If you're spending so much a month on Spotify or Apple Music or whatever, and you're paying for this Amazon Prime, and you like Amazon Music, you try it, use it instead of using what you normally use for a month. And if you're happy with it, it comes along free ride with Amazon Prime. Use it, save the money. Even Spotify, you can use a free version with friends that's like what they call streaming radio. It's kind of the equivalent of streaming modern versions of listening to a playlist that's like the so-and-so station. And with Pandora, I up and down things. When I listen, I discover songs I didn't know, artists I don't remember. And I'd say that over time, Pandora's gotten to where at least 95%, 19 out of 20 songs they play are songs I actually want to hear. And when they pop up when you don't, you do the down thing. And then they don't play that one again. And, you know, I was in an Uber recently, and the driver was listening to music. I said, "What music service are you listening to?" He said, "YouTube." I said, "Why do you listen to that?" He said, "Well, it's free." I was like, oh, man, this is my kind of guy. And so we have a list of these, what I call the Lucky 13, of ways you can use streaming services that you already pay for and use them instead. Try a free version, or various other options for free streaming. Because you think about it, we've been squeezed so hard on costs over the last few years. A lot of people finding more month than money. And so with monthlies, if you're able to squeeze them down, it's like the thing I talked about the other day with the cell phone plan, how stunning it is, how much money you can save, that a typical family can, with no reduction in quality of service, can save $1,500 or more a year, wouldn't that be great? $1,500 or more a year on cell phone service. It's not up to. It's pretty easy to get to $1,500 or more a month you can save. Think about all these monthlies, how they're going to help you stretch every dollar. And just go look at our list of the free music services and just give them a try.
It's titled 13 Places to Listen to Free Music Online. Okay, we'll go to questions now. This one's from Sean in Iowa. I am in the process of buying a small business that I am currently employed at. I need to consider how I will do the accounting and bookkeeping for the business. Are there a few accounting softwares that you know of that I could consider trying?
Well, first of all, congratulations to you becoming an entrepreneur at a business you're already familiar with. One of the things I would have said to you if you were asking me advice on buying a business, you're already fully aware of it, you know how it operates, you understand what the business does. One of the most important things to be successful. So first question, is there an accounting software that business has been using that maybe you should use, at least at first, as a transition so that the numbers are pretty clear moving forward? If the answer is no, or you hate what they have, the most popular one out there in terms of users is QuickBooks, but not necessarily the best. And something that I love for you to do is go to YouTube and watch reviews where people in the accounting industry have done show and tells going through the advantages and disadvantages of various small business accounting packages, software. It's not really, it's all online now. It's not like it used to be. And you can see what are the best ones people use. They may be under bookkeeping rather than accounting, but watch these YouTube videos that are within the last 2 years. And I think you'll be able to make a good decision. Because it's different than reading a review. Mm-hmm. Seeing somebody show and tell and say, when you need to add this, or when you need to subtract that, or when you need to pay somebody, this is how it works. And you see how the different tools operate.
And the interfaces, for sure.
And you see what is comfortable for your style.
Tom in Oregon says, I do business with small organizations that use QuickBooks for payment platforms. This requires entering the routing number and bank account number. Which of the following options would Mr. Howard choose? 1, this isn't safe. Continue to pay with an online check. 2, it's probably safe but use a separate bank account. 3, safe. Stop worrying about this and worry about things you have no control over, like the national debt, Social Security, etc. 4, stop worrying and live life. There's only so much of it going around.
Okay, so rule number 1, never write a paper check and put it in the mail unless you want misery in your life. Number 2, the system that QuickBooks uses, where you put in, a lot of small businesses use this, and you put in the routing number and account number, like you said. that is a relatively extremely safe way to do things. A lot would have to go wrong with a dishonest employee at that business. If there's a dishonest employee at that business, there are lots of ways they can cause havoc in your life, particularly if you send a paper check. So, yeah, I think it's fine for a small business that uses that invoice payment interface, is that what they call it? For you to put in your routing number and account number. I think you can rest easy. And now instead, go figure out how we're going to fix the national debt.
And another Tom, this Tom's in Vermont, he says, I, along with the two of you, despise gift cards. However, our 17-year-old daughter and boyfriend purchased a dinner cruise for Christmas of 2022. Due to the scheduling and weather, we couldn't use it last summer, and we just went to book the dinner cruise today to find out the $200 certificate was expired after 1 year. The certificate was via email, and nowhere did it say there was a 1-year expiration. My wife emailed and called the Vermont local business to be told they weren't going to honor it. Since they are a seasonal business, they don't need to abide by the Vermont law, which is 5 years to expire. And if not stated on the certificate, Vermont doesn't allow an expiration date at all.
Wait. I thought that was a national statute, the 5-year.
Is it now? I don't know. But the Vermont one is...
It's very common that a gift certificate is valid for 5 years now, or the money is supposed to go to the state unclaimed property office and not just stay with the business.
We're so upset they won't honor the prepaid certificate. The electronic gift certificate had no mention of the expiration until you logged on to look at the cruise on the website. We've decided to hit social media on the issue and call the state to lodge a complaint. Anything else that you suggest? Love the show, and all our daughters have Roths. Happy retirees in the making. I
love that. I love the Roths. I don't love what happens again and again, particularly, this isn't a bash on small business, because, I love small businesses. But gift cards and gift certificates from small businesses are the greatest risk. And the biggest risk is that the business ceases to exist. And then the money goes poof from the gift card or gift certificate. There is no easy way to compel an organization to follow the law. You could sue them in small claims court in Vermont, and the small claims court judge would render a verdict in your favor. And it still doesn't mean that the business would comply and extend the validity of the certificate. And it is just one of those additional reasons why I just am so negative on gift cards and gift certificates. And like forever, come up this Christmas shopping season, I will repeat again, as I have year after year after year, why not to buy people gift cards. And people will still go buy gift cards, including my own family will go buy gift cards, because they're just so convenient and easy. But the problems with gift cards in so many ways, including the gift card draining and all the rest, and breakage, make them a defective purchase, a defective gift. And I don't have any magic pill to give you in this case, Tom, but you have already created your own magic in your life with all those Roths. Good for you. And I hope you have an absolutely great weekend. And, I failed to mention earlier this week something that is only a Monday through Friday thing for us. And that's free one-on-one advice. If you're having a problem with a company or whatever, you don't know how to get things done, talk to our Team Clark Consumer Center, available to you 30 hours throughout the week, Monday through Friday, no weekend hours. And maybe we can help you. And you want to know more about it, go to clark.com/CAC. Again, have a great weekend. Remember, save more, spend less, avoid getting ripped off, and have fun this weekend.